today, but thank you all again for joining us live. And I'll tell you about why that's important in just a minute. But welcome to the information session for the Inclusive Leader at UC Davis Continuing and Professional Education. My name is Vincent Chain, and I'm the program manager with this program. And I'm really excited to talk to you about the Inclusive Leader. This is a program that we all care about deeply, and that our instructors have a lot of experience teaching and that they enjoy covering as well. So we're excited to talk to you about the Inclusive Leader, which starts March 3rd. But before we get into that, I'll go ahead and start with an overview of what you can expect in today's session. So I had mentioned that it's really important that you all attend the session live. And so thank you for sharing your time with us this morning. All of you who are joining us live will qualify for an information session discount. That's $100 off tuition. And so please stay until the end of today's session so that you can hear more about how to redeem that discount. During today's information session, we'll also introduce you to program staff so that after today's session, if you still have questions, you'll know who to reach out to. I'm also excited to introduce you to our team of instructors who are so great, have experience teaching this content to public and private sectors, all different fields, all different types of communities, and experience teaching with CPE as well. And we're very excited and lucky to have one of our instructors joining us today, Lisa Montanaro. And so I'll introduce her all to you in a bit. And then, of course, we'll go over program logistics. So if you attended our information session in December, you got a bit of this, but we're excited today to share with you even more details about what to expect from the content. Of course, we'll talk about dates, scheduling, costs, and things like that. Along with the costs, we'll also go over discounts, including the information session discount and options that you have for financing your education. And then as we're going along, I might answer your questions along the way, but if you think of those questions as we go, please use the designated Q&A feature in Zoom to submit your questions, and then we'll make sure to get to those questions when we get to our Q&A at the end. And then if you think of additional questions, we'll have designated time there. If you can make sure to submit your questions through the Q&A function, that'll help us keep track of all your questions as opposed to the chat. And then at the end, of course, we'll talk about how to enroll when you're ready or request more information. So I want to start with the slide of contact information. After today's information session, if you want quick answers to questions like, where's the website, how can I enroll, how much does it cost, when does it start, you can reach out to Student Services either by phone or email. They're available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, or you could contact me directly. There's my email address. Again, my name is Vincent Chang, pronouns he, him. I'm the program manager for the Inclusive Leader. We also have Lupe Cox with us. She's the program representative. Her email is there as well. And we work together to administer the program. So we can help answer your questions beyond, when does it start? How much does it cost? You're welcome to reach out to us as well, but Student Services can answer those questions. And then if you have more specific questions based off of your experience, background, and goals, we'd love to hear from you. So please go ahead and reach out to us there. And then I'm also excited to introduce you all to Jill Parrish. She's the Director of Business and Leadership Programs, and she's joining us today. Jill, hi, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Vincent. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Thank you all so much for being here. We're so excited. This is a program that has been a long time coming. It's definitely a passion project for those of us you see here and our other instructors. Leadership development in itself is incredibly important and a lot of fun, but figuring out how we can be leaders that are inclusive in the workplace and how we can really work to make a difference and make sure that all of our associates feel comfortable and welcome and like it's their workplace just equally across the board is so important. And so we're really excited to kick this off. Really excited. I probably shouldn't say that anymore, but I'm really excited to kick this off if you hadn't noticed. So I want to just review and introduce our instructors for this program. We have 3 instructors and they are incredible. This is going to be just, this is our A team right here, folks. We've got Kristen Bennett, Lisa Montanaro, and Corey Snojic. And all 3 of these instructors, first of all, they have it worked in real life jobs. So these are not folks that have not been in the workplace, right? These are not folks who have just been consultants their entire life. All of these folks have worked in organizations, in corporations, in nonprofits, in county, in city, in government. And they all know what it's like to be a leader in an actual institution. In addition, they're all incredibly passionate about this topic, and they're all really, really good instructors. So this is not going to be a login and check your email or be bored, because you're going to be engaged and you're going to want to hear what they say. I'm really excited about the three of them, and know that this is going to make the program. These instructors are so great. This is how it's going to be so impactful. And so today we are lucky enough to have Lisa Montanaro with us, and I want to make sure that we give her a little bit of time just to kind of share her thoughts and what she's going to be doing with the program. So now I'm going to turn it over to you, Lisa, to tell us all sorts of fun things.
Thank you so much, Jill, and thank you so much, Vincent. I appreciate the introduction. Welcome, everyone. And we are very excited about this program, as you can tell, and we've been working on it for a while. And I am in wonderful company with this amazing team and with the other instructors. And Jill's also one of the instructors, correct? So we're going to have a wonderful time presenting this program and working with all of you. What I'm going to do now is just share a little sort of sneak peek at my topic, which is called Eeo Essentials. And most of you probably know that EEO stands for the Equal Employment Opportunity Essentials. So you should be seeing the slide deck. Hopefully everything's working. We love when technology works, right? And I have a background in law, which is why you see these scales here. Practiced for about 9.5 years in New York City. And then when the 9/11 tragedy happened, I spent about another 1.5 years working with the university where I was associate general counsel at the time, helping them deal with post 9/11 issues. And then I left my law career to start this business, which, knock on wood somewhere, thankfully is still going strong and gives me the opportunity to impact participants in programs like this. So I'm really excited. So let me give you a quick little overview of what my topic will be within the program. And basically the entire Inclusive Leader program is designed to help you not only educate yourself, to be able to understand a little more, what does it mean to be an inclusive leader? And we hear these terms, and we're going to do the sort of what I call the alphabet soup of terms. You'll hear lots of them out there, DEI, and we'll define all of those, and we'll talk about what it means to be an inclusive leader, your specific role. And what's really wonderful about this program is it's interactive. So you'll have a chance to ask a lot of questions and to do some role playing. I'm a big fan of role playing. You might watch some videos and then talk about them. So think about this program as basically personal and professional growth for your leadership and for your life, because we want you to become a better leader and we want you to become a better human through this program. So I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about my background, perspective, and presentation style, and then a little bit more about the course. So in the words of one of my favorite characters from Les Miserables, Jean Valjean, who am I? And the reason I bring that up is I have background as a performer on stage, and then realized I didn't want to be a starving actress, so went to law school. And I also have deaf family members and am fluent in American Sign Language. Although I'll say that just like any language, if you don't use it, you lose it. So now I'm probably proficient, not fluent. So if we have any deaf or hard of hearing individuals, hello and welcome. Very much looking forward to meeting you. As far as diversity and inclusion and inclusiveness, my background is a little unique because I'm what's called in the LGBTQ community queer spawn, which is that I am a child of a gay parent. And we have a group called Retro Collagers. A lot of people have never even heard of it. It's a wonderful organization, and it's an inclusive organization to help provide support and education, training, and community for anyone that has a family member within the LGBT community, which is really neat. I also spent many years as an employment discrimination lawyer, and that's what I'm going to try to bring to you with EEO Essentials. And I think what happens to a lot of people is when they hear that term, law, employment discrimination, sexual harassment training, they think boring and dry. And I'll tell you that not only is it very interesting, but it's a slippery slope. And so it's an area where I think we can all continue to grow and learn. So we will go through lots of different things in the course. Verna Myers is one of my favorite people to follow online on LinkedIn, for example. She is the VP of Inclusion Strategy for Netflix, and I love this quote. Diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance, because a lot of people will sort of ask, what's the difference? So we're going to look in the course at the EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the federal body that covers all different types of disparate treatment in the workplace. And then I have a term that I use called EOJ. And if anyone can guess what that means, it is an equal opportunity jerk. And that is someone that has behavior that doesn't rise to the level of illegal behavior, but still isn't a good leader. So we'll talk about how you can actually be in compliance with all of the legalities and yet still not rise to the level of what we want you to be, which is a truly inclusive leader. I will give you the federal, state, and city municipality legal framework of what we call the protected classes and which statutes those stem from. We will also look at the non-legal framework of language and how powerful it is, treating people with equality and equanimity. And then we will look at how this fits into DEI initiatives in general. And the role of an inclusive leader in the workplace is really important right now. And you'll hear the term, DEI is really good for business and people. And it is. And one of your trainers will definitely go over that with you. And we will look at the spectrum of issues that arise in the workplace: hiring, recruiting, meetings, assignments, the way you divvy out assignments, for example, delegation, retaliation in the workplace, firing. There's so many areas where these issues can come up. And we'll look at policies and reporting structures and documenting and modeling good behavior. And what are the benefits of being an inclusive leader and how it can change your life and change your career. And we'll also work on building bridges and embracing differences and finding alignment. And then I love to talk about the difference between allyship and advocacy, because there's a slight difference between the two. And I think, again, it's a good thing for a leader to know. I encourage any of you that are interested in the course to reach out to me. You can find me all over social media. Go ahead and put in Lisa Montanaro, and I would be happy to connect. And I'm going to stay here until the end. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'd be happy to answer them. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and then hand the mic back to Vincent.
Thank you, Lisa. So that's just a preview of what people can expect in the program. And I'll go ahead and resume presentation here and talk about program logistics here. So when does it start? The Inclusive Leader begins on March 3rd, and then it runs until May 13th. That's 8 live class sessions over Zoom. And it's online, but live, so that you still get that interactive component with your instructors. You can ask questions in real time, but this makes it more accessible because you can join Zoom from anywhere. These are 5 full-day classes and 3 half-day classes. We'll go over a more detailed breakdown of the schedule in a bit. But over this course, you can expect to learn tangible take-home strategies that you can apply to your job or workplace or life, any space that you occupy, to really become a leader, to drive change and create that culture that is supportive and inclusive. These are valuable skills that we thank you all for being here today, because that shows your commitment to learning those skills and strategies. Along with this, I want to echo what Lisa had said earlier, in that this program is designed to be interactive. It's not a series of 8 lectures, it's a series of 8 classes, interactive classes. You'll be working with classmates in groups or pods throughout the program, so that you can really get into more in-depth and mindful discussions. I started getting excited, so if you hear a little bit of a rumbling, that might be my microphone going up against my collar. But to echo what Jill and Lisa said, we're all very excited about the Inclusive Leader. And so the cost of the program is $2,995, but there are discounts available. One of them being the the information session discount that you all qualify for sharing your time with us today. So on this slide, I do want to share the learning objectives and outcomes for this course. Again, it's designed so that you have actual models so that you can take those home, apply them to your own situations, and then week after week, you can come back and share with your pod or the greater class with your instructor about how those strategies worked specifically for you. So it is an individualized and tailored content and curriculum. And then on this, one thing I wanted to mention is that we want to make sure that participants in this program don't just learn the lingo or the terms, but that they are fluent in sort of discussing different aspects of identity. And that includes all different parts of what makes people who they are: race, gender, culture, sexual orientation, all of that. And so that's where those pods really come in, because then you'll really get time to do self-reflection, and then also understand where the other people in your group in class come from, and really get that experience talking with people from different communities. So on this next slide is the schedule. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jill to review with you an outline of the program.
Yeah, excuse me. Thank you, Vincent. I'm still really loving Lisa's EOJ comment. And all of these people I've met in the past are like, oh, he was an EOJ. Anyways, I'll move on from that, but that was good stuff. Our schedule is up here. We tried to make it, it's really hard. Some people prefer work days, some people prefer mornings, some people prefer afternoons. So we've really seen that for the most part, when folks are doing professional development, they want to do it during the workday. And so we have created the schedule on Thursdays. You can see that for the most part, they're full days. The only Friday we meet is the very last day, and it's just in the morning, and that's to present the presentations that you will work on throughout the program. We'll start with business case. We'll move on to some cultural awareness. We'll talk about what Lisa talked about, EEOC, building allies, storytelling, organizational change, and power and influence. And a lot of this, or really even most of it, is really typical leadership development topics with a lens on inclusivity. And so these are some things that you might have already had a class on, or you might have been interested in. We will specifically be looking at how does this advance inclusivity. So that's kind of our lens through everything we do. I want to talk real briefly also about the pods. What we've learned throughout, I've been running programs similar to this for longer than I would care to share, because then it's going to age me. But what we've really learned is so much of the learning, close your ears, Lisa, doesn't come from the instructor. It actually comes from the peer-to-peer interactions. And it's hard to do that when you have a larger cohort. So we wanted to make sure that we set you all up for those instances where you can really connect with people. And you can ask questions and you can share experiences. And maybe you're an introvert and don't want to do that in front of 22 people, but it makes it a lot more comfortable when you have a smaller pod group that might be 3 people or might be 7 people, kind of depending on the size. So everybody will be in a pod group. That pod group will have a facilitator. The facilitator is really only there, to make sure that things don't go awry, or to ask questions, or to kind of pose, what do you think about this, to make sure that the conversation's flowing. But it will really be your time to work with your peers and to talk about what has really hit you with the program, what's hitting you in the workplace, what might you need a little feedback on, or somebody to bounce things off. The pod schedule will be built by the pods. You'll meet 3 times during the program, and you'll determine that with your pod members and your facilitator. So you could all determine whether you want to meet, whatever, Saturday at midnight, I don't care, or Thursday right after class. And let me think, am I forgetting anything, Vincent, that you can think of? We're working on this content. The content is all going to be built specifically for this program. This is not content that we're like, pulling from other classes we offer. This is very specific to this program. So it's brand new content. It's good stuff. It's incredibly interactive. Like Lisa said, we've got case studies, we've got role plays, we've got discussions, we've got breakout rooms. This will be really for you all to actually get into the content, put your hands on it, virtually, obviously, and really be able to experience it that way. So I'll stop for now, Vincent, and I'll turn it back over to you unless you want me to expand on anything that I forgot. Please don't feel like you can't tell me if I forgot something.
Thank you, Jill. I think that was a great overview of how the course will work. And I'm so excited that all of you get to hear from Lisa today, because as you see, all of our instructors are really engaging and just so great at presenting the material. So we're really excited for you all to get the opportunity to work with them. So I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide here. I did mention earlier that the course costs $2,995, but we have discounts. So I know this is a fun slide that a lot of you might be interested in. So one discount that we offer, if you're a member of a professional association, like the Sacramento Area Human Resources Association, that qualifies for 10% off of tuition. If you're a member of another professional association and you have questions, feel free to reach out to me and Lupe and we can look into that for you. We also offer a group discount at CPE. So if you enroll in a group of 3 or more, that qualifies for a 10% discount. If you have a group of 10 or more, definitely reach out to me and Lupe. We can talk to you more about that as well. There's also an early enrollment discount, so that if you enroll in a program at least 2 weeks before the start date, you get $50 off tuition. But for those of you attending live, you qualify for the information session discount. I will actually email that all to everyone attending live after the session today. So there'll be a code in there and you can redeem that by enrolling online, or you can call student services and ask them to apply that for you, and they can double check that you attended live today. But if you know of someone, or if you have a family member, friend, or colleague who is interested in the Inclusive Leader but couldn't make it to today's session live, we do have another information session on February 2nd. So I do want to highlight that, but they could take advantage of the early enrollment discount, or maybe the 10% off is a better deal for you. So feel free to reach out to me or Lupe. We're happy to go over the numbers with you. Unfortunately, UC Davis policy doesn't allow us to stack or combine discounts. And so that's where we're happy to talk with you about all the different discounts that are offered. I know these aren't necessarily listed neatly in one place on the website, but because this information session is recorded, you will be able to find the recording online later. But feel free to email me and Lupe. We're happy to go over this again with you as well. And then on this next slide, I do want to talk about a website on our CPE program page. It's called Financing Your Education, and it has a lot of information from student services about different private loans that you might be interested in to help you cover the tuition for the Inclusive Leader. And I'm really excited to introduce you all to a member of our student services team, Suzette Odom. Suzette, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Vincent. So yeah, I'm actually new to UC Davis continuing in professional education. I'm the student finance advisor over here. Actually, some of the loans that we do partner with is Sally Mae is one of them, and College Avenue is another one. We also do have some other options available, and what I can do is I can give you the link to our financing page that'll give you all the information as far as any VA benefits. We also have what they call WIA, that's the workforce. My mind just went blank. Sorry. Investment opportunity.
Innovation. Oh, okay. Yeah.
We also do sometimes employers also help out with tuition as well. I have got a number of vouchers from different employers recently, so you might want to reach out to your employer too. But there's all different kinds of options actually out there. We do not offer financial aid through FAFSA, just so you're aware of that. But I can help you with the loan process if you need help with that, or if you have any questions regarding any of the financing, I definitely can help you out with all your questions.
Thank you so much, Suzette.
Do you want me to put that link on the
chat? Oh yeah, you can share that in the chat. And sure. I can also make sure to share that link in the follow-up email as well.
Okay.
So thank you so much for doing that, Suzette. I was just going to say, Suzette's so great. Whenever I have a question about special funding, she is definitely my go-to person. And she can definitely help answer any of your questions about all these different loans. So if you call this number, if you get voicemail, please go ahead and leave a message. They really do reply to all of those questions, and they forward inquiries on to me and Lupe as well, or Suzette as needed. So we definitely will get back to you. So now I'd like to make sure that we have some time left over for questions and answers. So I know some people have been submitting questions in Q&A, and we'll also make sure that we don't miss any in the chat as well. While we're going over questions and answers, I would like to leave this slide up because it does have sort of next step information. If you want to go ahead and write some of this down, I'll make sure to also follow up in my email the link that Suzette shared. And also, go over where you can find the website to enroll, how to contact student services. But I'll go ahead and leave this up as we answer some questions here. Okay. So I see one question, is there a price difference for federal employees? Not to my knowledge. Suzette, do you have more information on that?
No, you know what, I haven't come across that yet.
Okay.
To be real honest with you, I can reach out to see. So I can reach out to student services to see. I can maybe find out from somebody.
Okay.
If we have that type of discount.
Is there a certification? Jill, would you like to talk a bit more about what students can expect?
Excuse me, absolutely. So there's a certification from UC Davis. You'll get a certification in program completion. I will note it's not an academic certification, so you're not going to be able to get units from it. So if that's one thing you were looking for, unfortunately, we are not offering units, academic units for this program, but you will get a certification, inclusive leader certification. The other thing we have is we're going to do a badge, a digital badge. And so for those of you who are not familiar with digital badges, essentially you complete a specific set of requirements, and in our requirements, in our case, it'll be you complete the course, and they will give you a badge. And the badge you can use in LinkedIn, you could use it in your signature and email, but it essentially says that you're certified as an inclusive leader. I believe I'm blanking on the name of the organization that gives the badges out, but you'll receive a digital badge from completing the program.
Thanks,
Let
Jill.
me know also if there's any follow-up questions to that. I want to make sure I answered it, whatever you were thinking.
And Jill, could you please go over how the pods work again?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, good question. Okay, so at the very start of the program, you'll be put into a pod with a number of other folks. It'll be a smaller group, so anywhere between 3 and 7, depending on how many people we have in the program. And that pod will have a facilitator, and that will be one of our instructors or one of our program staff members. And that person will really just be kind of there as somebody to help sort of facilitate your meetings. You'll connect with your pod 3 times during the program, and those dates will be set totally by your pod. So you can all talk amongst yourselves. There'll be time in the first session that you can get together with your pods briefly. You can talk amongst yourselves about what's a good day or time or whatnot. And the point of that, really, there's not going to be new content during those pod meetings. We're not going to give you new things. The point of that really is to think about, what have you heard from the program so far? How does that mesh with what you're living in your organization, your personal life, whatnot, and to talk with your peers through that. And so it might be that you all spend time talking through, I have this problem, how can I solve it? And then you can get information from your peers. It might be that you just want to talk about, the last course we did was business case. How does business case play out in my organization? Are there things that I could be sharing with my manager, with our leadership, that I learned from that and talking through that? We really know that for knowledge transfer, it helps to reflect. It's important to reflect. And so we want to make sure that we're giving you an opportunity to both reflect on the content and an opportunity to really connect with a smaller group of peers to discuss these topics. And so largely it will be left up to the pods as far as what they really wanted, how they want to dive into things, but you will have a facilitator there. If there is an awkward silence, and sometimes that happens in the beginning, you know, we won't expect you just to stand and stare at each other or look and stare at each other. Your facilitator will be there, and that person will be kind of responsible for saying, well, let's start with this and that. If you're all very chatty and you all already have topics you want and you immediately start talking, your facilitator will largely just be there to ask questions. That person could actually be potentially pretty quiet during the session if you all as leaders really kind of know what you want to share. So I hope that answered your question. Please let me know if there was additional questions. How are you covering equity aspect? Will you go into pay equity? Lisa, you want to tackle that one?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you. And it's a great question. And the reason is I think that people have different definitions for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that's actually something great to talk about perception of differences in, you know, lingo and language. But I tend to look, and I think they're a bit of a misnomer, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. Diversity to me is actually including individuals from a variety of different backgrounds, identities, and characteristics. So if I had to give you another term for that, I tend to call that the communal or societal part of this. Equity is equitable treatment, which is treating individuals during employment as that spectrum that I talked about, including the employment processes, systems, all different types of programs that are available, opportunities within employment. So I tend to look at equity as the sort of legal structure or framework. And then inclusion, which is interesting, the word is inclusion, but to me, it is engaging with your employees in an empowering manner that values and respects their individual characteristics and fosters a sense of belonging. So to me, the sort of code for that is allyship and advocacy. So I tend to look at, even though diversity has the term diverse, to me, that's actually the including people, which is a very sort of community-based aspect. The equity to me is the sort of legal structure of that. And that's what the laws are all about in anti-discrimination, is basically equitable treatment. And the minute you have disparate treatment, which is part of the legal term, when you have disparate treatment, you need to figure out why. And if the disparate treatment has a non-discriminatory reason, it might be okay from a legal standpoint. It still might not be okay from a diversity, equity, and inclusion standpoint, because there might be some implicit bias going on. And then when you look at inclusion itself, the term to me is more allyship and advocacy, because it's helping people feel like they belong. Again, it's the don't just invite them to the party, but ask them to dance, as Verna Myers said earlier. So hopefully that helps you understand sort of how the three of them work together. But I tend to think of equity as my part because it's more of the EEO side of things. But as you can see, it does really play into the other aspects of DEI. So hopefully that helps. And if you have further questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I wanted to just quickly address, we will do a 5% discount for federal employees. So if you're a federal employee, we can offer a 5% discount. And then there was a follow-up to the pods that I wanted to just clarify. So, and the question was, are the pods different from breakout rooms? And the answer is yes. So you'll be meeting with your pod separately from the main sessions. And then the other question was, are there breakout rooms during the sessions? And that's an absolute yes. There'll be a lot of breakout rooms during the session. So you'll have time to network and connect with peers, not just in your pod. You'll be able to meet everybody during different breakout rooms. In fact, by the end, you'll probably be like, please stop putting me in breakout rooms. There will be a lot of breakout rooms because we know it's important, right? We know that that opportunity to connect with folks in a smaller group is important.
I do see a question in the chat. Do you see alumni discounts apply to your program? I believe there is a UC alumni discount. I'm not sure what the discount is off the top of my head. Suzette, do you know?
Yeah, there is a discount. I would have to look it up.
Yeah.
But I can look that up for you real quick.
Thank you. Yeah, and then to the person that asked that question, if you want to, follow up by email to me and Lupe, we're happy to, look into that for you as well.
I can do that.
I see that question about absences, Vincent. I'm happy to tackle that question.
Okay.
If we allowed absences if I'm called into work. And I think we're pretty reasonable people, right? So if you have an emergency, you get called into work, that happens. If you have repeated absences, we just probably won't be able to give you the digital badge or the certificate. But I think if you have to miss one class, that's totally understandable. And then beyond that, it'll just affect whether or not what you're able to get at the end as far as certification goes. We do know it's a weird world right now. You've either got COVID or you know someone who had COVID, or you're on quarantine because you were exposed to COVID, or you're being called into work because all of your colleagues were exposed to COVID. So we know it's a weird time right now. We're not going to be hard and fast with any rules. But, you know, for the most part, we just want to make sure that you're getting the content that you're paying for, and want to make sure that you walk away feeling like, yes, you know, I am changed. I understand. I know some tactics I can bring into my workplace. And that's harder to do, obviously, if you're absent often. And then I'm gonna go right to that next question, which is how much time outside of the sessions in pods is anticipated? The pods will meet 3 times for 1 hour each. If the pods determine they want to meet more, then that's of course up to you. I definitely would not say you can't. But as part of the program, there will be 3 times that you meet during the program, and each of them will be 1 hour. And the sessions will not be recorded. We are held to Student Privacy Act laws. And so if we recorded these sessions, you would have to essentially get you to sign so much paperwork. You were giving us your firstborn. So we are not able to record any sessions that have students in them, unfortunately.
I noticed there was a question about time zone. The program will be on Pacific time. If we haven't answered that yet, I just happen to see that in there.
Thank you, Lisa. I missed that one. Perfect.
I think it was in the chat. Yes.
Okay.
And as far as the sessions being recorded, I know that all of you understand that we want to create a very safe space and that we want to honor confidentiality. But if someone is truly missing because they're ill, sick, family member sick, then of course we would get you materials. And then you could maybe meet with some of your pod, for example, to maybe also talk about some of the exercises we did. So clearly, as instructors, we will work with you if you need to miss a specific session. So just keep that in mind.
That's a great point. Thank you.
Okay, great.
One last thing I will say is Vincent used a great term, and it's one that I use also. What we really want to do in this program is I want everyone to think about it this way. Someone said to me, hey, I already consider myself an inclusive leader. And I said, so do I. And yet we're always learning. So we're always evolving. The world is evolving. We are evolving. Organizations are living, breathing, made up of people. They're evolving. And so come into the program with a growth mindset that we all know a lot, but we need to do more, not just know more. So we want to help you know a lot and do a lot and feel a lot. And so Vincent used a term I love, which is called cultural fluency. So if we can help each other become more culturally fluent and help each other become better leaders, then we will have pushed the envelope in a good way. And we will also be, shifting our mindsets and our behaviors. So keep that in mind, because I think somebody said to me, I don't know if I want to sign up for that, because isn't that saying that I need help? I think it's an area where we all could continue to grow. So keep that in mind.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm so glad you could join us today. And thank you to everyone who joined us live. If you're someone like me and you think of questions immediately after a meeting ends, we're here to answer your questions. So please go ahead and send me an email, call me at work. You can also email Lupe as well, and we can follow up with you. I see that Suzette also just shared some more information about different professional associations and discounts. Again, if you want to follow up with Suzette, you can call Student Services at either of those phone numbers, or you could send her an email as well.
I can put it on there for you.
Okay, great, thank you. And then if you, Lisa, thank you again for joining us today. For those of you attending the information session, if you think of follow-up questions for Lisa, go ahead and email me and Lupe. We're happy to reach out to Lisa or one of our other instructors and get those questions answered for you as well. So I want to direct your attention back to this slide for some closing next steps. Please keep in mind that the course begins on March 3rd, 2022. I sometimes have students ask me, how late can I enroll? And because these are live Zoom class sessions that aren't recorded, we definitely encourage you to enroll once your decision is made to join the program, because we might go to a wait list. And I'm always so sad when I have to turn people away. But if you want to reach out to someone, again, there's my email and phone number. So go ahead and let me know if you have any questions. And please keep a lookout for that follow-up that'll come from me. That'll include the information session discount code for those who attend live. And then if you're watching this in a recording, please go ahead and reach out to me. I'm happy to answer your questions as well. Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.